For the past week, I've been dealing with a pretty awful flu. I couldn't get out of bed, everything hurt, and my fever reached a whopping 39 degrees Celsius. I'll add on screen how much that is for my American viewers, but let's say I was not doing well. So that was a perfect time to work on my farm in Stardew Valley. Stardew Valley. What can I say about Stardew Valley that hasn't been said before? No, really, I'm asking you. It's one of the most popular indie games and farming simulators of all time. And there's a lot, and I mean a lot, of content here on YouTube. Now that I'm not dying, I can go back to my drawing schedule. But my brain is still in the Stardew Valley mood. So I decided to self-indulge and redesign the Stardew Valley Bachelors and Bachelorettes. Starting with the Bachelorettes because it was voted by my patrons. Let's start with Leah. Leah is a talented artist and a sculptor. Or at least that's what the game wants us to believe. She moved to Stardew Valley to get away from the stressful life in the city, and from her ex. If you choose to romance her, you'll have to deal with her ex problems and a lot of drama. But she's a pretty cottagecore girl, so it's probably worth it. How she can afford to buy a cabin in the woods when she didn't sell a single art piece? Well, that's the magic of Stardew Valley. You can enjoy some fantastical escapism into an alternate reality where people can afford to buy property. Now, I want to clarify that I'm a huge fan of Concerned Ape's work, and that this is not supposed to be a fixing characters video, more like my reinterpretations and an excuse to play dress up with these characters. I really wanted to explore different clothing styles. I've been really working recently to improve my character design, specifically the clothing aspect. You can learn a lot about the characters just by looking at them and how they dress, which the game attempts, but I don't think the full body pixel art is detailed enough for it to fully work. Now, I had to do some good old research because I am not the most knowledgeable about fashion. If I'm not wearing my artist attire, aka my pajamas, I'm wearing the fancy outfit combination of a graphic tee plus the same old trousers. But that's why Pinterest is so helpful. I just have to write down woman, fashion, aesthetic, and see if anything would kind of fit any character. And now I know fun words such as goblin core or coquette. If I have some main criticism with these designs is that the Bachelorettes have a bit of same face syndrome. However, because of the pixel art style, I don't think it's that big of a deal. If it wasn't for Leah and Penny, the two redheads that happen to have the same face, with the same 3/4 angle portrait, and to also be the same sprite pose as Robin, the third redhead in the game. Let's say that in my first playthrough, it took me quite a while to tell them apart. So I hope I managed to make Leah and Penny distinct enough from each other with my redesigns. Next we have Maru, who is probably my favorite bachelorette. If you like nerdy girls, Maru is your choice. She's into robotics, astronomy, and she also works part-time as a nurse. The main problem about dating Maru is, like Leah, you will have to deal with some drama. In this case regarding her passive-aggressive father. But I know many people really hate that guy and download mods to break his marriage, so I don't think that could be a big problem for most players. I really like the safe language I used for Maru. I think it really works to convey her nerdy and sweet personality. Putting her alongside the other bachelorettes, she looks so short, which was intentional, cause I wanted to respect the character height from the sprites in game, as you can see from the flower dance cutscene. Hailey and Leah being the tallest, Maru and Abigail the shortest, and Penny and Emily being just in the middle. I really liked her color palette and her overalls, so I didn't really change that much about her design, other than adding details to reflect a bit more her nerdy and geek side. Her clothes are now covered in space-themed patches and pins, and I also added goggles completely out of self-indulgence because it's one of my favorite accessories to give to characters. I grew up with Digimon, what can I say? If you are into astrology girls that know which crystals to use to line your chakras, or girls that meditate to shift to different realities, seek help. Or you can romance Emily. Okay, now really, Emily's fun, sweet, a fashion lover, and definitely one of the most interesting people in Pelican Town. For her outfit, I was trying to go for a Phoebe Buffay-inspired look, because I don't know, they give me similar vibes. I made her wear more jewelry and some crystals because I feel that she's a type of person that could wear as many accessories as possible. I also had to include her parrot, because how could I not? That's her bestie. If you don't like the parrot, Emily doesn't like you. And you know who else Emily doesn't like? Clint! Let's be honest, 90% of the people that romance Emily do it to make Clint upset. And that's enough to make Emily one of the best bachelorettes. Oh, so your favorite character is Haley? Hold on, let me just... A mean girl who constantly belittles you that you claim you can fix? Sure, buddy. With Haley, I went again to my good old buddy Pinterest and started searching aesthetic, clothes, girly. And after some research on stuff that felt very alien to me, I decided to try to go for a mix of Y2K and coquette. I wanted her to look like a stereotypical mean girl from an early 2000s movie. As I said before, Haley is one of the tallest bachelorettes, but that couldn't stop her from wearing the biggest platform shoes to assert dominance. Haley, alongside Zane, are the two bachelors that are mean to the player at the beginning. Zane is true to the player because he just wants to be left alone. Haley, on the other hand, goes out of her way just to make fun of you. I haven't mentioned this, but Haley is Emily's sister. But they have a troublesome relationship because Emily wants Haley to do her part of the chores or get a job because she does everything in the household, while Haley thinks that's kinda cringe. As the kids say, gas boss, gate light, girl keep, or something like that. But hey, maybe under that mean girl facade, there's a very sweet, nice girl that feels misunderstood. In any case, Haley for sure is one of the characters with the most development and unique personalities. It makes people either love her or hate her, or both. Penny is the character I have the least to talk about. I feel like she could dress extremely modest and without a lot of accessories. I don't think she'd want to stand out, because she is rather shy. Penny is a bit of a bookworm and she's a very nurturing woman. She is committed to teach the kids from Pelican Town for free, because there's no school there. Man, the town kinda sucks. Trash is all over the place, buildings are deteriorating, the mayor spends all the tax money on golden statues of himself, and you're expected to fix everything for everyone. Heck, you're even supposed to pay for a new house for Penny's alcoholic mother, even when you don't romance her. Thank you, Penny, for at least contributing to the children's well-being. As I mentioned before, the redheads in the game have very similar hair and features, so I wanted to make Penny's overall shape language a lot rounder and softer than Leah. I also made her hair a more reddish tone, so the differences are clearer. I'm not sure if I'd drawn on Bachelor characters, but if I ever drew Robin, I think I'd either go with a more brownish or darker tone of redhead. I love Robin, so I kinda hope I'll do a third part of this series. Like this video so I have an excuse to draw awesome side characters such as Gunther, Henchman, or Trash Bear. And lastly, we have the most popular bachelorette. I mean, what's not to love about Abigail? Adventurous, funny, a gamer girl who eats rocks. Abigail seems to be the perfect woman. I wanted to push further her alternative style of clothing, specifically because there's a cutscene where her mother tells her she doesn't want her dressed so weird. Which doesn't make much sense because her sprites don't look that different in comparison to the other women in town. That's why I went with a more punk look with fishnets, a lot of accessories, and some really cool platform boots. Even with them on, she is still one of the shortest bachelorettes, which I found a fun detail. I also gave her a sword because she does actually have one in game. And if I have an excuse to give a character a sword, I'm not gonna waste it, and I'm glad I added it because it makes her look 10 times cooler. And here are all my versions of the Stardew Valley bachelorettes. What do you think about them? Do you think they fit the characters or don't really agree with my takes? If I happen to overly criticize some aspects of the game, it's because I really love it. If I don't nitpick everything about my favorite pieces of media, do I really love them? But yeah, I could heavily recommend you to check Stardew Valley out if you haven't already. If you like this video, please let me know. Maybe leave a like or a comment, so I can see if you'd be interested in a second part where I redesign the boys. And as always, a big thank you to my patrons: Blanca Lee Jones, Sprocket Rocket, D, RCT, Austin Graff, Jinx Studios, Soapy Soapster, Annie Moore, Pedalbook Interactive, and NetTip Art. And an additional thank you to you for watching till the end. Hope you like this video, hope you have an awesome day, and see you in the next one! I'm gonna be honest, all bachelors and bachelorettes are kinda mid. The one superior choice and the character I always choose is Krampus, but I can improve on perfection, so that's why I'm not redesigning them. Reject Golf Girlfriend, embrace Shadow Creature from the sewers.